Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode. Today, I wanted to talk about dog fights, how to prevent them, how to address them, sort of the whole nature around dog fights. This episode is sort of in response to a recent question that I got asked by a friend, and I helped him out, give him some answers, gave him a little bit of advice. Obviously, I'm not gonna mention his name or anything like that. But this episode is sort of going over what I talked to him about, which I thought it's good information, and it probably would be beneficial to some of you guys. And I'm gonna talk about dog fights and why I feel like I'm somewhat qualified to address that, and I'll explain that here in a moment. Now, there are people who work with socialization, dog to dog socialization, in a much more in depth fashion than I do. And those people definitely have the authority to go in depth about this. I mean, these people do seminars. They specialize in this stuff. So I'm not saying that the information that I have is breakthrough or brand new or better in any way at all. I'm just giving you my perspective and, again, why I feel somewhat qualified in this. I'm not saying that I'm the authority, the end all be all, but here's the thing. In my personal care, okay, I've been working with dogs for over 12 years now, and in my personal care, I've never had a dog fight. Now, this might seem that I've been lucky. It might seem that I just never have put the dogs in situations like that. But you can only get lucky for so long. Okay, I'm not saying dog fights will never happen to me. That I'll never have to break up a dog fight in my care, but I've had a pretty good record, and I'll tell you sort of how I do this. Now, obviously, I do have dogs. I mean, currently we have, between my wife and I, we have 6 dogs. Not to mention the client dogs that we bring in, that we've been bringing in for several years now. Client dogs that we brought in when we ran our first business, dog training business, and we would have a decent amount of dogs. Pretty strong, powerful, intact dogs in a fairly confined space. Now, my belief on the whole dog fights and dog socialization is different than some people believe things should be conducted. And I completely understand that. So I'm going to give you my perspective, why I feel a certain way. And, maybe it'll help you. Maybe it'll give you a different perspective. And if it doesn't help you, then this episode is not for you. And that is perfectly fine. So every time that you have dogs in an environment where they're going to make their own decisions and there are going to be other dogs there making their own decisions, you're going to have periods of conflict from time to time. Now, these conflicts might get solved very quickly on the spot, and sometimes these conflicts require a little bit of extra involvement from these 2 dogs for the conflict to be resolved. Now, conflicts might be something as simple as, hey, I want that. And the other dog might go, well, I want it too. And it might be as quick as, well, you can have it. All right, conflict's over, right? And that might have been the result of a little bit of posturing. That might have been the result of a little bit of determination on one party. And then the other dog yielded and said, it's not worth it to me. You can have it. Or it might be more complex, like, something similar, but more like along the lines of, I want it. And the other dog might go, well, too bad, I want it too. And now this leads into a potential scuffle, a fight. Now it becomes a fight. Now it's a big deal. Now the other dogs get involved. So that's how intense it can get, right? It happens. It's the nature of the beast. You put people in a group, okay? Any social animal, really any animal, you put them in a group, and you're going to have these moments of conflict. You're gonna have these. This is just part of interaction. So it would be the same thing with people. It would be the same thing with dogs, naturally. Now, here's what happens in your average household. Your average household, the owners, okay, are not very aware of these little conflicts that take place. And sometimes these little conflicts take place and they get resolved, and they take place again and they get resolved. And the owner, a lot of times, is completely unaware of what's happening. We know this, and if you're a dog trainer, I know you've had clients that go through this. If you're a dog owner, you may or may not be aware of these conflicts that take place. A lot of times they look like play. And so what happens is it goes on and on and on and on. But then sometimes there is that one conflict that doesn't get resolved that easily or that quickly. And now it takes more from both parties, or whatever parties are involved, for the issue to resolve itself. That's usually when people go, oh, we have a problem, right? Oh, there was a problem here. Or sometimes a big fight happens, and we go, oh, I don't know what happened. It was quick, but in reality, this conflict might have started 10 minutes ago. You know what I mean? It might have started 10 minutes ago. It might have brewed for 10 minutes. It might have been like a little conflict that didn't get resolved, but they walked away. Conflict did not get resolved. But then, 2 minutes later, they kind of encounter the same conflict. It doesn't quite get resolved. And then it keeps building up, and it keeps building up. And suddenly, 10 minutes later, now you have the culmination of that conflict. Now you have a fight. And now it seems like, well, I don't know what happened. It happened so quick. I've seen this. I've seen enough dogs, and I've seen enough groups of dogs, and I've seen enough scuffles. Okay, even though I did say that in my care, I didn't see it a whole lot in my care, okay, but I have seen it. And I've seen that enough to tell you that sometimes that happens. Sometimes it brews for like 10 minutes, and then you have a fight. So that is one possibility that happens. That's one of the reasons as to why these dog fights happen. Here's another reason why it happens. Sometimes you have a young dog, okay? Young dog, and then you have an older dog, and people don't realize that dogs are very aware of each other's maturity levels. They truly are. Okay? It's not uncommon for the young dog to get away with a lot of things. It's not uncommon for the puppy to be inappropriate and the older dog allow it. Now, the average pet owner, to the untrained eye, this looks like, oh, they love each other, they're having fun. But when you understand what is happening, you can actually see the older dog may or may not be amused by some of the shenanigans that the young dog is involving them in. But what happens a lot of times, the older dog is aware of the maturity level of that young dog. And the older dog gives it a puppy pass. Okay, the older dog is aware of it and basically goes, you're just a silly puppy. You don't know what you're doing. You know what? I'm going to allow that. You're just being a silly puppy. This actually happens. The number of times I've seen this happen is unbelievable. Okay, if you haven't been aware of that, pay attention. You'll see what one dog will put up with from a young dog. You have another dog, just older, do the same thing, and that older dog doesn't get away with it. The puppy gets away with it. The older dog doesn't. Okay, because dogs are aware of this, and dogs do give each other puppy passes. Not all the time. Not every dog does that. Some dogs will correct the crap out of a puppy, right? But in general, this does happen. So here's the other scenario. The puppy, okay, the puppy or the young dog, I say puppy, and the puppy, could be 12 weeks of age. But have you ever seen a dog that is a year and a half and they act like they're puppies? Okay, my dog Cinco, he's turning a year this month, and he still acts like he's 4 months of age. Big goofy puppy. Okay, so he's a big ass dog, right? There are dogs that are like that. There are dogs that are big dogs that are even a year old, sometimes even older, and they act like puppies. So it's about maturity level, not always the biological age of the dog, but sometimes it's the maturity level that the other dog is aware of. And the dog will give that young dog, a puppy pass. I've seen it happen so many times, okay? And the untrained eye will look at this. The average person will see this and go, oh, they're just being friends. They're having a blast together. And they may or may not be. It might be that the older dog is just going, oh, you stupid, silly puppy. All right, just knock it off. All right, I'll amuse you. I'll engage for a little bit and I'll entertain this little puppy interaction that you're having. But stop bugging me, type of thing, right? But it looks like the older dog is okay with it. And here's what happens. I've seen this happen. I've had clients go through this, where at one point that puppy pass expires. And what happens is that young dog is no longer young. Okay? And this might take a year, it might take 9 months, depending on the dog and depending on the tolerance of the other dog. Then what happens? The puppy pass expires, and suddenly the mature dog goes, whoa, hold on a second. You're not a puppy anymore. So this behavior is not acceptable. And then, boom, you have a fight. And this is where the accounts or the complaints of, oh, I don't know what happened. They were best friends, and then suddenly they just got in a big fight. Because it really wasn't suddenly. What happened was the owner didn't pay attention to the puppy pass phenomenon that was happening. Okay, and the dog finally, the mature dog finally said, okay, your puppy pass has expired. You're no longer a puppy. You're an adult. Now this is unacceptable. And then big fight happens, and I've seen that happen. I've had clients that have had that happen. And all it takes is a little bit of investigating and asking. And, you go, okay, what happened? And the story is usually along the lines of, oh, I don't know what happened. They were best friends, and then suddenly they got in a big fight. Now they can't stand each other. And it's so interesting to hear that. But then you start asking questions, and you realize that one of those dogs is about a year and a half or 2 years of age. Okay, it happens somewhere along those lines, and I've worked with enough clients to find that pattern, and you see it. Okay, and that's what happens. It's right around a time where the puppy is no longer a puppy. Now he's a little bit more serious. Now he's a little bit more mature. And now this behavior that they've been getting away with for like the past year, okay, now you have a lot of learning history, a lot of reward history. Suddenly, not acceptable. Suddenly it's not acceptable. Now you have a fight. So that's another reason why these dog fights happen. Okay. Now here's another reason why dog fights happen. Here's the crazy thing. People sometimes don't understand this. Sometimes people think, well, dog fights are bad. So if they're bad, that means dogs don't like it either. And in fact, yes, some dogs don't like it. But here's the other thing. Dogs, sometimes on their own, some dogs look for conflict. It's fun to be involved in conflict. Okay, if you work with dogs, I know you have seen some sort of some version of this where, and I've seen this, right? You see a dog grab a toy, plant it right in front of the other dog. You have got, I'm sure you've seen this. If you haven't, pay attention to your dogs and you'll see, you'll observe this. A dog will bring a toy, will plant it right in front of the other dog, and they'll wait for them. It's almost like they're saying, hey, dude, let's play. Right now, play does, obviously mean there is going to be involvement, there's going to be engagement, there's going to, be some chasing, some grabbing, there's going to be a little bit of conflict, right? That's a mild version of that. But sometimes dogs will look for conflict. They will do these inappropriate things to poke, right? They'll poke and they'll go, dude, let's do something. Let's run. Let's chase each other. Let's act rough and tough. And sometimes these lead to fights. Okay? And I have seen this, and I have clients who have seen this. Like, big fight happens, you break them apart, and one of the dogs, if not both of the dogs, are like, yeah, this was fun. And it's like they're ready to go to round 2. And you go, oh my God, this was a fight. What happened? We broke them apart. And everybody's freaking out. The humans are freaking out. But you look at the dogs, or you look at one of the dogs, and the dog is like, yeah, that was fun. Let's go to round 2. Because they look for conflict. Okay? It's fun to be engaged in that manner. It's fun to go, yeah, let's do something. So that's another reason why dog fights happen. Okay? Now, there's obviously a number of other reasons. It could be, one dog is not as tolerant. One dog is taking a nap and he wants to be left alone. They could be resource guarding, where they're fighting over a toy or over a specific area, etc. Right? Maybe one dog is not feeling well. Who knows? Maybe one dog doesn't like the other dog. Maybe one dog doesn't like that type of dog. These are all reasons as to why dogs might go, I don't like that dog. Now, this might sort of trace back to the few episodes I made on aggression. So if you want to go back to the library, I made 3 podcast episodes on aggression and the different types of aggression. So check it out. It's really, really informative. But, these are all the reasons as to why a dog fight might happen. So I'm just talking about some of the common ones that don't necessarily involve aggression, that involve typically dogs that know each other, have gotten along before, and then you have a dog fight. Okay, so here's how I've always prevented, and here's how I've been successful at preventing them. And that is, I let the dogs know that I am the ultimate authority. Okay, I'm the ultimate authority. I don't chance it. I don't go, yeah, guys, let's just go ahead and be crazy and I'll play the referee. I don't like to play a referee. I don't do. This is why I'm not a fan of like daycare socialization style interactions with dogs, especially if I don't know the dogs, or if I don't know the dogs very well. If I have dogs that I know very well, yeah, go out and sniff each other, run around. But when it becomes like every man for himself type of thing, no, I don't like that, because that makes me a referee, and I don't want to be a referee. I don't want to be the one going, nope, that was too much. Nope, that was too much. Nope, knock it off. No, I don't like doing that. So I don't do that. I let the dogs know you can interact, you can sniff each other, but I have some rules, right? And some of my rules are, if you're both playing and interacting, that's good. You both are having fun. But if the playing and interacting goes on and on and on, I'm going to interrupt it. I'm going to go, all right, leave them alone. I know you both are having fun. You're both running. You're both crazy right now. But just take a quick break. Okay, that gives them time to de-escalate. The other thing, too, some of the rules that I have is, look, I know sniffing each other is part of the ritual, But don't be constantly sniffing that other dog. Don't, get your nose out of his butt. Get your nose out of his genitals. Um, a second here and there, it's fine. You keep going on and on and on. You're now annoying that other dog, even if the other dog is not telling you anything. And the reason why it's important for me to be involved like that and be the ultimate authority is I want the dogs to feel comfortable. I want the dogs to feel like I will be there to stick up for them. Right? So I have this sort of contract with my dogs and with client dogs, and that is I will make sure you feel comfortable. I will make sure that the other dogs leave you alone. Okay, you have my promise that I will do everything in my power to make sure you feel like you have the space that you want so that you feel comfortable and you feel comfortable being yourself. But at the same time, I'm also going to make sure that you let the other dogs feel comfortable too. Just like I stick up for you, I'm also going to stick up for the other dog. Okay? And they're perfectly happy. I mean, I don't have to deal with these, fights or anything like that because I'm managing it, and I'm not micromanaging. Okay, because the dogs they get it, they figure it out. I'm not like constantly going, oh, okay, no, that's too much. Okay, no, that's too much. If I do that, then I'm back to being a referee. I'm not gonna do that. So what I want is I want the dogs to have a healthy respect of me. Okay, and I want to be able to say, okay, that's enough, and everybody stop, and they go, yep, that's enough. Okay, I want to let the dog know, and if I have to get personal and I have to get, hey, no, really, you knock it off, and I need to do whatever I need to do to convey that message to that individual dog, I will do it. Again, we're not gonna make each other feel uncomfortable at all. You're gonna be polite. You can play. You can run. You can act a little bit crazy, but that's that stops. And contrary to popular belief, dogs, they can be quite happy and fulfilled without having doggy friends. That's a thing, guys. And I know if you're a dog trainer, you know this. But your average pet person doesn't know this, right? And then you see people that go, no, he really loves dogs. He really gets excited and lights up, and he's much happier when he sees other dogs. Okay, and to me, if I have that, that's a problem to me. Like, you can like dogs, but if you see another dog and your intensity and your attention completely leaves me, and you don't want anything else, but you want to interact with the other dog, I have a problem there. I need to address that and make it so that is not as important as I am. So that's another thing that I want to do, right? I want to make sure that I am very important to each dog. And ultimately, it's for the dog's comfort. So now, sometimes these fights do happen. Crap hits the fan, you miss something, and now you have a fight in your hands. So, like, what do you do at that moment? You do whatever it takes to break that thing apart. Okay, whatever you got to do, you do whatever it takes. And some dogs respond different to different types of breaking techniques. Like I've been in dog interactions with a lot of dogs where a fight is breaking, it's happening right there. These are not my dogs, maybe like one of my dogs, right? And I've been there where now this is happening right in front of me, and some dogs, I mean, they respond pretty well to like a big no clap, and then you grab them, and then it's over. And some dogs, they'll keep going. Okay, I've had my dog Jax, the Catahoula in the thumbnail. When he was more, more green, when he was sort of less conscious of me, he was a pretty much a dog fighter. I mean, he loved interaction. He wasn't an asshole, at all. He was a nice dog, and he got along with dogs. But if there was conflict, there was no diverting him from it. He was just into it full throttle. So if he was the type of dog that if you grabbed him and like pulled him, he just kept going. Like a lot of dogs will do that. Whereas some dogs, you grab and you pull them away, and then like, whoa, 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 I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And I'm very, very blessed, very lucky. But maybe not lucky because I do everything I can to prevent these situations. But I've been very blessed that I've never had to by myself break things apart. And of course, if I had to, I have to, and I'll get involved, and I'll try not to get bit. But the chances of you getting bit when you're breaking up a dogfight, they're very high. This is why I don't do dog parks. This is why if I have my dog out, your dog is not getting near my dog. If I don't know your dog, my dog doesn't know your dog. I don't care how friendly your dog is or how friendly you say your dog is not saying hi to my dog. If I have my dogs out for a walk, I usually have a stick with me. And that stick is not for my dog. That stick is for a loose dog or for your dog. If your dog decides to say hi to my dog, I'm going to shoo your dog away. I'm not going to deal with that. Because again, prevention is so important to me. I'd rather do everything I can to prevent it than to be in the middle of it and not have to stick both my hands in there and try to pull these two piss dogs off apart. Okay? So obviously, I'm talking about preventing here. Now, when it happens, good luck to you. I've heard the wheelbarrow method, which you grab the dog from the hind legs, then you pull them apart, then you tie one to one tree, and then you pull the other one apart. Look, do whatever works for you. I'm not gonna tell you what works better or doesn't. Whatever you have to do. Okay, and I've also heard some people do work it out. Now, dogs have the ability to work it out. Some conflicts, even when they get to dog fights, they do work themselves out. I've seen it happen too. Dog fight happens, they're really into it, and on their own, they work it out. Okay? And a lot of dog fights look way worse than they actually are. I've seen dog fights where it looks nasty, and then you inspect them, and then maybe there'll be a scratch, but no punctures, no tears, nothing. Of course, that's not to say that always happens. Some fights are gonna be tears and punctures, and and you have to be careful with that. But in general, no, I do not fuck with that. I do not like dog fights, and I will do everything I can to prevent them. And if I have to instill the fear of God in one of the dogs that is determined to seek conflict, if I have to get really, really personal, I will do that. Okay? In a safe manner, of course. I'm not going to compromise a dog's health just to get the point across. But yeah, I will do whatever I need to do to prevent dog fights. So anyways, that's pretty much the episode. I wanted to keep it nice and short. You guys know to check out the YouTube channel, Dog Training is My Passion, Facebook, Instagram, the podcast, obviously. Make sure you guys give us a follow. Check out the books. Go to Amazon, William Garrido, Garrido. I have 4 books there. Working on the 2, and which is very, very difficult now that I'm super busy. And also stay tuned for the app. It's still a work in progress, but I'm excited for it to come out. And other than that, I'll see you guys on the next episode.